today. We've got two people here to give testimony towards Ron, and so I'm going to ask.
Here you go.
Come on up.
Okay, I have to grab my notes. Okay.
Kind of serious, going on his nose.
I have to write it down. If I don't write it down,
Ron,
you're gonna forget.
step out here. We want you in the picture.
Okay. Which picture? Okay. So as I was thinking about a pastor and the importance of what a pastor should be, and appreciation, I came across Jeremiah. And I will give you pastors according to my heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. I wholeheartedly believe that God has picked you as my pastor. I believe all of us kind of feel that way.
Amen.
That He's given us a leader who is filled with knowledge and understanding because he has a heart for God and of God. And your words strike us all deep within our spirits to make us think. But most importantly, you want to push us past that thinking and bring us to the transformation of change. Not just in our lives, but in the lives of the church too. You came to me in a very dark spot in my life. I was in a very dark hole. I was addicted to drugs. I was doing a lot of things that I shouldn't have done. You spoke life. I felt like I missed it for the first few times I was there. But you called me forth out of that darkness. And you brought light into my life. And although I relapsed and I withdrew from the relationships because of my relapsing, when I called you one night, I was high on cocaine and ecstasy. You were kind to me still. You were compassionate to me.
That's right.
You continued to show that kind of love there, even though I wasn't that person. And even now, as I come back, the transformation that you brought into my life not only affects me, but the life of my children, the life of my husband, and everybody else that I come in contact with. And you are just, you're amazing. Sometimes your words hurt, and sometimes it's like, oh, yeah, he's right. You know? And that's tough sometimes. But I know it's for the betterment, not just of me, but for the church community themselves, you know, to bring forth that change. So, in conclusion, now we ask you, brothers, to respect those who work hard among you, who are over you in the Lord and admonish you. Hold them in the highest regard and love because of their work. And I thank you. I thank God for you every day. Thank you. Thank you.
So I was asked this morning to do this. I am very unprepared.
Oh, you're always prepared.
Right, you are.
You got words beyond some of us words.
Well, because Irene asked me, and I was like, well, just let me think about it. And then during worship,
She said, oh yeah.
during worship, I was thinking about it, and there's so much I could say. I've been here for a while. And Irene actually mentioned what part of what I was going to say in her sermon this morning, and it was the fact that Ron always asks how I am. And it's not that like I hate it, it's just like I know no matter what I'm going to say, he's going to be like, and what does that mean? And what does that mean? And it's just like, I don't know. Like, but I was thinking about it, and Ron likes to push. Like, Roberta describes it as poking, but I describe it as pushing. And for me, it's really a big deal because I'm one of those people that I can be easily overlooked, or people are scared to ask me anything, which I do that on purpose. But like with Ron, he's never been that way. He's always like been that little like, how are you, Megan? How are you, Megan? How are you, Megan? And that's huge for me, even though it's just one statement. And as you guys know, I wasn't on the team this morning. last week I asked Ron if I could take a break, just because of school and stress and all of that. And he made a couple statements in this conversation, and he's like, I understand what you're saying, and I know why you're saying it. And he's like, but I'm concerned because when things get really stressful for you, you disconnect. And I was like, and then, and he said, I don't want to see you, like, basically isolate myself. And so I thought about that, and then he made another statement, and he said, he compared where I am now to a couple of years ago with Roberta, and I remember that time in her life as well. And he's like, she just had like this ball of like all of her emotions were just like bound up inside of her. And I thought about that, and I was like, okay, it's probably true. And so I left that day irritated because I knew he was right, and I hate it when people are right about things that I am unaware of. And so I had a lunch date I was supposed to go to, and there was like an hour and a half that I still had to waste. So driving around Fairlawn, and I think I need to go to the cemetery, which, I don't know, this is sort of whatever. So I go to the cemetery in Fairlawn, which is ginormous, and eventually I get out of my car and I'm walking around. It was really pretty that day too, and I find myself in front of this tombstone of Miriam and James Fox, and I'm standing there, and I just start praying because of these statements that Ron made are just eating away at me. And so I'm praying. I was like, basically it came to the point where I was like, God, I just don't understand my point or my purpose. And that's it. That's what I feel. That's why I disconnect. And so I'm standing in the cemetery, just like looking up, praying about suddenly everything. And I left that day having to go to lunch and whatever, and just like thinking about this place I'm in. And so if Ron had not said what he did in that moment, I wouldn't have gone to the cemetery. I wouldn't have had that prayer. I wouldn't have realized exactly what I felt and where I am. And so for me, it's just knowing that Ron pushes and knowing that he cares makes me listen. I don't listen to everyone, so feel very privileged. But I don't know, like, my dad's a pastor, and it's just like, I know all that you go through and all that no one realizes how much you do and how much you give. And like, not only like doing a sermon, but also reaching out to people and ministering to people through the week and being on the team. And like, I don't even think you guys realize in congregation like how irritating being on the music team can be. Like, it's a lot that goes in there, and it's a commitment, and it's pressure, and it's when you're up there, you don't get to worship like you get to worship out here. You're up there thinking, okay, I need to come in here and do this, and remember, oh, stop time here and do this, and it's like all of that constantly. Like being on this side, I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. And it was just like, if you could just realize how much effort these people put into this, and especially Ron too. But more than that, it's just like Ron and his family have been so very loving to me. My mother once said that you can get no higher compliment than when somebody compliments your child. And I can honestly say that Roberta is the best friendship I have besides Carrie in my life. And she is so much like you and Benita. Good things and bad, yeah. But you have done an amazing job with your own children. And yet you still keep reaching out to other people's children. And I really, really appreciate that. And I appreciate everything you've done and all that you see in me. And the fact that you don't stop pushing.
Amen.
Thank you.